Gotcha! Parents, watch your children carefully so you can catch them in the act of being good. Research increasingly shows the best way to get children to behave well is not by harshly punishing bad behavior, but rather by recognizing and praising the behavior you want to encourage. Here to tell us the finer points of positive discipline is Dr. Aliza Pressman, co-founder of SeedlingsGroup, an evidence-based parenting resource, and the co-director of Mount Sinai Parenting Center. Aliza, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So the trick is to notice when our kids are being good, but it's tricky because we tend to expect that behavior, so we just walk by without noticing it, right?
Yes.
So we have to, how do we stop ourselves? What do we do?
The best thing to do is to think about what you want your child to do, what behavior you want to see. That's called a positive opposite, but that is not important. So you, instead of focusing on what you don't want to see, focus on looking for what you do want to see, and that's how you can catch them being good. So whenever you see that behavior, feed the meter and let them know.
So give us an example of when we should, like we see our child reading a book quietly and we should say, oh, that's so lovely, you're reading.
Sure, so just pass by them, put your hand on their shoulder, and just notice in any way that you can that they're sitting quietly and reading. And then you can walk away. You don't have to make a big thing of it. It's just the three components of praise, and this is actually very evidence-based. It needs to be close, including touch, and enthusiastic, and in that moment, immediate.
Oh, I like that touch. So put your hand on their shoulder. Oh, that's good to know. Now, what do we do, though, if they do something we don't like? They talk back to us, they throw a tantrum when we say, no, you can't have that. How should we respond?
So it depends. If it's a behavior that if you consider it an annoying behavior, basically one that isn't going to damage anything or anyone, you ignore it and you focus on the positive opposite. You focus on what you want them to be doing. If it's a behavior like a tantrum, you can't teach a child who's having a tantrum anything. They can't even hear you. If you started to yell and ask somebody to talk to you, you wouldn't understand anything. So you need to just feel comfortable that they're uncomfortable, be available, let them know that you understand their feelings when they do come out of it, and then just let them get through it.
Now, what if their behavior is aggressive and actually physically harmful, let's say, to another child? What should you do? Or puts themselves in harm?
Right. So it depends on their age. If they're under 3 and their language isn't available to them, the best thing to do is to quickly reprimand them by saying, no, we don't bite, biting hurts, and then give them what they should be doing. Whether, you know, thinking about why they're biting would help. If it's because they actually don't have the words to say, back off and stop, leave me alone, or don't take my lovey, then show them what they can say and help them express that. But if it's because they just want to bite something, give them a chewy toy, or like it's not a dog toy, they actually make them for kids, or something, a carrot to crunch on. That's actually also based on a lot of research.
So if they have a repetitive harmful behavior that's either harmful to themselves or to other children, you can show them something that they can do instead? Ah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, what are some other parenting strategies that you recommend?
So there are 2 things. One is you want to teach your child how to be a good listener. But then the next level is, it's not just about being a good listener, but it's also about coming up with good decisions on your own. So when they're younger, giving them these positive discipline strategies of telling them what they should be doing instead of focusing on what they shouldn't be doing is very helpful, and catching them being good. But as they get older, and by older I mean 3, 4, 5 years old, starting to explain yourself a little bit more. Not too much, because parenting can get a little bit permissive when you spend 15 minutes talking about exactly why you're doing things. But enough that they understand, so that then you can ask them, so what do you think a good decision is here? Is standing on this, you know, table that has glass sticking out from the bottom a good idea or not a good idea?
So you give them a chance to actually think about what they're doing. Aliza Pressman, thank you so much for all that great advice.